Well, hello and welcome to this week's ATL Home Market. I'm Ira Miskin. I'm broker and co-team leader for your home sold guaranteed realty in the Miskin team, along with Stephanie Miskin, our co-team leader. Hey, Steph, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. And I think we're going to have some fun today because the topic for today, which I'm going to reveal, actually is based on a wonderful cartoon element of a movie that was made by Walt Disney probably 50 years ago, maybe more, called Alice in Wonderland. And in it, there's a great little sequence of song in which she's singing, I'm painting the roses red. I'm painting the roses red. So much for my voice, right? But what they were doing was painting white roses red because the owner of the property, who is the queen of Wonderland, loved red roses and wanted her garden to look beautiful when anybody showed up. And that, in fact, is what everybody needs to think about and consider when they're getting their home prepared to sell, is to paint the roses red, which translates out into 2025 terms, curb appeal. And that's what we're going to spend some time on today, is how to make your house feel warm and welcoming when people drive up and take their first look, so that they can't wait to jump out of that car and walk into the house and see how fabulous your home is that you're selling. But before we do that, Stephanie has a really great group of wonderful things that you can do, play at, have fun with throughout Metro Atlanta that she wants to give you today as the summer's beginning to wind down. Steph, what you got for us this week?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So, yeah, we are really in the dog days of summer. I mean, I really cannot believe it. School's going to start here in Cobb County in just under 2 weeks. And they're back in school. So it's the dog days of summer. So I've come up with some ideas that I think are a good way to end the summer. First thing is, all summer long, I've been talking to you guys about the puppet series that's been going on at the Roswell Rec, the Historical and Cultural Arts Center. I hope you have, at least some of you have had a chance to get and see some of these puppet shows, because this is the last one. This has been a great series. It is totally economically feasible. I think the tickets are $6 to get in. The last puppet show is this weekend, and it is called Adventures in Space. And it's about pirates in space as they blast off into the galaxy. And they have an adventure with music and lights and cosmic fun. So get over there and try and see it. It is the last one. And if any of you guys have actually gone, drop me a line. Let me know what you thought. Enjoy the last one if you haven't been to any of them. The next thing I want to talk to you about is also a great thing to end the summer. It's the Atlanta Ice Cream Festival. Wow. If I took my granddaughters there, we'd never leave. It's going to be taking place in Piedmont Park. It is next weekend, July the 26th. I think that's like the last weekend of the summer. Tons of ice cream, live music, non-food vendors, and fun things for the kids to do. It's going to start at 11 o'clock, and it's going to be at Piedmont Park in Atlanta. Another thing for the kids, again, the end of the summer, this is going on this weekend, and this is going to be in Peachtree Corners Town Green. So if you guys know where that is, it's the Midsummer Kids Festival. And this is going to be inflatables, games, playgrounds, a kid-run market, and that's going to be going on from about 2 o'clock at the Piedmont Corners Town Center. So those are two kid things that I wanted to tell you about. Some more stuff. Again, great stuff for the end of the summer. It's hot. It's really hot out there. So water parks. All right. There are two of them that I'm going to talk about. One of them is Six Flags Whitewater. That's been around forever. I took my kids there when they were little. They had a ball. My daughter took her kids there. this week, they had a ball, tons of slides, lazy rivers, wave pools, you name it, food. It's not terribly expensive to get in. It's $26. It's on Cobb Parkway. They got there, and they stayed until the place closed. That's how much fun it was. So that is just, a fabulous water park that's been around forever in Cobb County. The other one is Lanier Islands, and that's on Lake Lanier, and it's called Margaritaville at Lanier Islands. Again, a great water park. I haven't been there in a while. I went there when my children were very small. Now it's like 10 times bigger. They have water slides. They have sandy beaches. They have lakefront cabanas. It's bigger than Six Flags because it encompasses a whole bunch of stuff to do on the lake. So not only is there the water park, but there's restaurants. There's, you can go boating. You can stay there. So that is Lake Lanier, and it's called Lakeside Escape to Margaritaville. All right. Now, the other thing I want to tell you about, if you don't know about this, is all around the city, and I'm going to mention a few of them, are splash pads. If you don't know what a splash pad is, it's, on the ground, there are water jets that come out and the kids play throughout the water jets and all kinds of stuff like that. They're very inexpensive to go to. I'm going to mention a few of them, then let you know where they are and how much they are to get your kid there and just cool off and have a good old time. You can sit on a bench. You don't have to do anything. Watch your kid and have fun. There's one in Atlanta in the Battery. It's called Battery Splash Pad, and it is right in Atlanta. And the hours on that one are 10 to 9:30. They don't tell me what the price is, but they're probably all pretty comparable. There's one in East Roswell, Spray Ground, it's called, and that thing is $2. It's on Fouts Road in Roswell. So $2, your kid can stay there for hours, cool off. You can sit there, relax, read a book, have a nice cool glass of water, and just chill out. There's a smaller water park called Seven Springs Water Park. It's been around for quite a while. It's on Macedonia Road in Powder Springs, but it's only $6. So again, it's a splash pad and a small water park. Check that one out. And then last but not least, let me see. There was one other one that I wanted to tell you about. No, that was it. There were 4. The Battery, East Roswell, Seven Springs, and here's the last one. I'm sorry. Swift Cantrell in Kennesaw. Great park. Wonderful park. And they have a splash pad there, and that's only $3 for the kids to play on. That park has great trails and all kinds of other stuff going on. And if you haven't been to Swift Cantrell, it's a really nice park. You should check it out. So keep them wet, keep them happy, cool off, and have a good time. And now my state park. And this week, we're going to talk about Vogel State Park. And this is the second oldest state park in Georgia. It's located at the base of Blood Mountain, and it's surrounded by the Chattahoochee National Forest. It is close by the town of, what town is it close? Blairsville. It's in Blairsville, Georgia. It's a beautiful state park. It's got lakes, cottages, a sandy beach, a playground. You can go fishing. You can go hiking. It's a great place, not only in the summertime, but check it out in the fall for when the leaves change. It's beautiful up there. But one thing I wanted to tell you, if you do go, but I would say up until early fall, you are right in the heart of whitewater rafting and tubing. All of those towns around that state park, you can find whitewater rafting or tubing. All right. And there's, of course, an age limit and a weight limit for whitewater rafting. But if you fit it and you've not ever gone and your kids are old enough to go, you should check it out because it's a lot of fun. Some of the towns around there that have both of these activities are Blairsville, Helen, and Blue Ridge. So check out that along with all the other state parks I told you about so far. Red Top Mountain, and around there you have the Etowah Indian Mounds, Hard Labor Creek. You have the lovely old town of Madison, Cloudland Canyon. You have Ruby Falls and Rock City and hang gliding. Unicoi. You have the quaint town of Helen, Georgia. And Vogel, which we just talked about. You can go whitewater rafting and or tubing and have a grand old time. So again, check some of these out. They're not expensive to stay in. You know, you book a cabin or you can go glamping or all that stuff. And drop me a line if you've done any of it. I would love to hear what you did and what your opinions were of some of these parks. And that's what I have for you today, guys.
Pretty darn good. You could spend the entire summer going from one to the other.
You
And
certainly
never
could.
get back to your house to paint the roses red.
Yes, you could.
Yes, you certainly could. That's true. So now let's think about you were going to paint the roses red. Great curb appeal. What
Yep.
that really means. So, so often, you drive by houses and you're in really lovely communities, and there's, most of the houses look like they're well tended and their grass is cut and everything looks kind of neat and pert. And there's always a half a dozen or so houses that just the people neglect. And lo and behold, those half dozen houses go on market for sale, and they have a hard time selling because people drive through a community and they see all of the nice houses, and they drive up to your house, and it looks like it hasn't had a bath in a month. Not good. Curb appeal. And curb appeal, it's the first look. You're in a crowd, or you're at an event, or you're at a meeting or at a party, and you meet new people, and you get an immediate impression about people from how they dress, how their hair is combed, and then they begin to speak, and then the impression changes. But your first impression always lasts unless the next impression is strong enough to either reinforce the first impression or wipe away the bad first impression. And curb appeal is a first impression. And there's about 6 different areas, 6 different elements that you can include. And they have a whole range of different kind of things. One, of course, is pretty obvious. That's landscaping and your lawn. It's grass, it's trees, it's flowers. The exterior of the house. What does the paint look like? Does the siding need any repair? Has it been pressure washed in the last couple of years? Does it have muck and gunk on it? What's your front door look like? Is the entryway cute and inviting? Or is the entryway just a door? And how are your driveways? Are they clean? Are they all filled with the drippings from all the cars that are parked in there, so that it looks like a used car parking lot? And then how about when you look at the house and the house looks out to you, the eyes of the house is the windows, the shutters around the windows, and then lighting around the house, particularly in the afternoon and evening when people drive by and they want to see a home and see what it looks like before they go in. Is the house dark, or is it nicely lit? It shows off the house. These are all big key areas that people, they neglect. They just, because they've lived in the house for so long, don't see it anymore. They come and they go and it just looks the same. But somebody who's new, who's coming to see that house for the first time, sees every bit of it, including, look at all the grass except for those 4 blades that are taller than all the rest of them. And you may think I'm kidding, but people do really take a really good hard first look at really what it is. Because, and Stephanie, because in showing houses all of those years, and for all of the advisors on our team that show houses and come back and tell us stories about houses that they showed up to that the buyer just goes, "Oh my gosh, this place is awful."
Yeah.
Though the place might actually be wonderful,
Right.
but they can't get past how it looks. What have you experienced in showing houses and how people have reacted? Just what do they say? What do they do?
Well, a lot of times, I'll find a house and everything about the house is perfect for them. Well, it fits all their criteria. And I know they're going to like the house once they get in the house. And we drive up to the house and it looks like the Addams family on the outside. They're like, oh my God, we don't want to go into this house. And then you have to try to convince them, look, I get it. The grass isn't cut. The trees need trimming. It needs a paint job, but we've got to get past that to get inside the house, because once you get inside the house, you're going to see that it's going to fit all your criteria. So, but what it does is it just puts a bad taste in their mouth. And it's like, I have to convince them, all right, we're going to have to like emotionally get over this so we can get inside. But if you think about it, your curb appeal, it's like good merchandising. People have to understand when they're selling a house that they have to merchandise the house. The house has to look good. The house has to smell good. And you have to put some effort into it if you want to get top dollar for your house, if you want to sell your house quickly. This market is not like it used to be, where you put a house on the market and it didn't matter and it would sell in, a week. It's a different market. So pay some attention, because that's their first impression. And it also shows them, the buyer, that you have some pride of ownership in your house. You've taken care of the outside of your house. The grass is cut. There are flowers on the outside. There are pretty little wind chimes and bird feeders, and it's inviting and it's pleasant, and it's it smells good because they're walking past flowers that are giving off a fragrance. If you have honeysuckle and you walk past a honeysuckle bush, you're going to smell that wonderful scent that it gives off. So all of those things are going to put a good feeling in the buyer. And I'm not going to have to convince them, look, I know that this needs some stuff. I'm not telling you this is perfect, but we got to get inside, because once we get inside, you might really see that this would be the house for you. But they're emotionally already like turned off, and people have to fall in love with houses. And if they don't love the outside, it's my job to make them see, well, we can add paint, you can do this, you can do that. But emotionally, it's like I don't know how, it's a blockage that doesn't need to be there when it doesn't cost that much to make that curb appeal happen.
It's called making a good first impression, right?
Right.
Yep. And
Yep.
first impressions, as I said when we started, they stick, they last. Even
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you discover that, gosh, the house has a backyard that is just exactly what I wanted, and it has a fence, and the kids and the dogs can be out there and play. But in order to get it to make it work, I've got to get out there and I've got to chop down all of those bushes that are ragged all over the place, and the grass is 2 feet high, and look at all that stuff that's piled out in the corner there. I've got to get all that stuff hauled away. I don't know if I want to do all that work. Well, the heck with it. Let's see if we can find another house that has a better backyard.
Right.
And then they're gone.
Right.
See, because really what you're doing when people arrive at that home is you're creating a perceived value for that home. Because folks are coming to see the house because you have enough bedrooms and enough bathrooms, and it has a basement, and it's in a school district that's they're looking for. And so the features of the home and some of the benefits of the features of the home are what drawn them there. And now they show up, and all of that is put aside because their first impression of the house is it's a junker, when it's really not. It's just not, a house that a house that has been taken care of well enough on the outside, even though the inside may be spectacular.
Right.
But
But you got to
see,
get them in there.
you got to get them in there. But then how do people feel? Okay, because now they've walked in the house, and maybe the inside of the house is not 2025 and tip top and perfect, but it's pretty darn good. But now, because the outside of the house hasn't been really attended to, in the back of the minds, people are thinking, well, maybe the rest of the house is not really attended to, right, Steph?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back to that pride of ownership. They're thinking, well, if they've let the outside go, if they haven't, cut the grass in I don't know, in a month, and the grass is 2 feet high, and the kids' toys are strewn all over all over the yard, and they know there's somebody coming to see their house who is potential buyer for their house, and they haven't even given the effort to clean it up or do some stuff to make it appealing, it puts question marks in the buyer's head. And you have to, as a real estate agent, if the house otherwise is perfect, you have to try to make them see past that. And some people can and some people can't. Some people are like, nope, I can't. I can't deal with this. And I'm like, well, we can get them to cut the grass. We can get them, we can negotiate these terms, but sometimes it'll completely turn the people off to the house. And then, the seller has lost the sale.
True, absolutely. And what you want is for every moment that people see your house, they should be thinking about, well, gosh, this house is worth what you're asking for. Let's see if I like it and feel comfortable on the inside.
Right.
Let's drive around the neighborhood. Let's go up to the pool and see if I like the pool and the tennis courts, because they're sold on your house, and now they just need to be sold on the rest of the community. The ability to boost appeal. And visually, this is something that, because so many people shop online before they get to your house,
Oh, yeah.
when the outside of the house and the surroundings, the side of the house, the back of the house, the rear yard, if all of that is appealing when it's seen online, because remember, most people, when they're shopping for homes, they start online before they ever get to talking to their real estate agent or advisor about, yes, I think I'd like to go and see that home.
Right.
They've already shopped the property. And so the online presence grows out of the actual physical presence of that home. And I just want to tell you a quick story about a house that I showed up to do a listing appointment for. I had gotten called from a family member out of state who said that his brother, who was an older fellow who had retired and was having some health issues, wanted to sell his house and moved to Mississippi to be with the rest of the family. But that he'd had some issues and he hadn't really had a chance to take care of the house. And the house had a lot of stuff in it. A lot of stuff is a nice way of saying edge to edge and wall to wall. The house was filled with stuff.
Hmm.
But what was amazing was when you walked around and you looked at the stuff, it was amazing stuff. It was paintings, wonderful artwork, statuary, but blocks and blocks of classic books, amazing stuff. But you couldn't see any of the stuff unless you actually walked through and looked in every box. And the outside of the house looked 5 times worse. Grass was literally up to my hips when I showed up. And the first thing that I thought of was, well, this house is worth 29 cents as opposed to $50. So I went in, we spent some time, we had a good chat, and said, look, tell you what, we're going to sell your house, but it's not going to be your house anymore. We're just going to simply transform it. I'm going to get my landscapers to come in and they're going to cut your grass. They're going to mow your field. There's enough grass tall enough so that cows could come and eat for a week.
Cut back the trees.
Cut back the trees. Cut out the bushes.
Right.
You know, he looked out the window and he said, "But look at the beautiful flowers out there." Well, they were nice flowery trim on weeds that had grown 6 feet tall. Took about 4 days to hack through everything, cut everything up, to clear out all the trash that had been buried underneath all of that grass. And I was sitting there and I was looking at the house and we were talking about what did we need to do to touch up the outside? Where would we put some paint? And how would we do a couple things to make it look sprucier? And neighbors were driving by and they'd stop and they'd say, "Is this Al's house?" I said, "Uh-huh." I said, "No, it can't be Al's house." But it was, because you couldn't see the house under the grass.
Right. I remember that. I remember that house.
That's really extreme. But I can't tell you how many homes are somewhere between beautiful and Al's house and need to be attended, because everything, the key elements of curb appeal, they do two things. They create an emotional sense and they validate that the house actually is worth what somebody's asking for. Let's go in and take a look at it. Steph, I know you and I were talking earlier about just with the yard and just with the dressing around it, that there are some key things that people should be doing to just clean it up and make it look great.
Yeah, well, when you think about your house, and I mentioned right now the dog days of summer, it's been really, really hot. So, you might have planted flowers. You might have put the house on the market a month ago or 2 months ago, and you might have planted some annuals. And those are the ones that die every year and you got to replant them. Well, they're probably looking pretty wussy right now. So, spend some time and get a few more and take the dead ones out and put the new ones in. So it doesn't look like it's the dog days of summer. If you have flower pots on the front steps, which is always nice, replace those flowers so they're not dead looking. Another thing that's really simple that I think a lot of people forget is windows. So if you took your screens off your windows and you power washed and you cleaned your windows, that's going to completely change the look of the house, because you're going to have these sparkling clean windows. Those kind of things are, put up some bird feeders. Look, if you have a lovely backyard, put up some wind chimes and some bird feeders and things like that make it inviting. Make sure that if you have outdoor furniture in the backyard, make sure that the cushions are clean. Make sure that, they've not been blown around, and because of all the storms we've had, and the cushions are, on the floor, the chairs are upside down. There's a sandbox out there that's, full of water. Clean it up. These are not hard things to do, but they really make a difference when somebody is looking at your house. They make it inviting. They make it so that they want to walk into the house and see the rest of the house. If it's askew, it raises the red flag, and emotionally, once that red flag is raised, it's sometimes very hard for people to get beyond it.
And then there's the actual physical surfaces that make up the house and the environment. As I said earlier, driveways. Driveways are really important because when people drive up to the house and they pull into that driveway to park, they see the entire rest of the driveway. If there are oil stains from drippings from your car, if there are cracks if there's, just general stains or discoloring, a lot of that can be eliminated just simply by power washing the driveway to get all of the stains and the drippings off. And then have the driveway, if the cracks are significant, have that driveway looked at and see if you can just simply clean up and fill those cracks and resurface the driveway. You don't have to break it up and tear it out, but put a thin coat of resurfacing over the driveway or paint the driveway. There are lots of things that you can do because the driveway is like, a man wears a suit and he has a tie. And the first thing you see when you meet somebody and you shake his hand is the tie. Is it subtle and pretty or is it ugly and goopy? The driveway is the tie. And so if the driveway is subtle and pretty, which just really comes down to clean and fresh, and even with a border of some greenery, some low vegetation running along the sides of the driveway. So you're not driving up to just a flat piece of concrete. Again, you're making the house and this first big view of the house attractive in that it is subtly pleasant. And then any house, doesn't matter what the surface is, whether it's vinyl or it's brick, if it hasn't been cleaned in 2, 3, 4 years, sometimes with some people 10, 15, 20 years, that brick that you're used to looking at, that's kind of a dull red, when you power wash it, it's a really beautiful pink. And people walk up and they look at the house and they're looking at the brick and they're touching it. If there's stone, if the house is cedar and it's pressure washed to take out the mildew, all those kinds of things that you're just so used to seeing that they don't mean anything to you. But again, it's putting on a fresh coat. It's putting on a clean suit and tie. It's just presenting itself. Those kinds of things, which don't cost a great deal of money. I mean, you may spend a couple $100 to have a crew in and power wash everything, and the house looks like a completely different home. Just like you can spend a couple $100 to get a gardener to come in and cut the grass and edge it and trim it and plant some flowers for you. It's not just surface. It is all about the presentation of the home. It's all about creating a sense of welcoming, and then add whatever lighting you can to show the house off in the evening. You come walking up to a house that's dark and you're trying to get up the stairs and it's 7 o'clock at night and it's the winter and you're showing a house and people are tripping up the stairs instead of being able to comfortably walk and see everything. Lighting, which is easy to do these days. Don't even have to have an electrician do it. I mean, you just have lighting that, you stick in the ground and the sun shines on it all day and it is bright and lit all night long. Solar lighting, so many different choices to make the outside of the environment really pretty. And then Stephanie mentioned one other thing, which is, you have, chairs in the backyard. You have, a table to sit at that hasn't been cleaned in 2 years. There's a kid's playground that's the sand is all on the ground and stuff. The backyard looks like it's filled with clutter. Right, Steph?
Yeah, right. It looks a mess. It doesn't look inviting. It doesn't look like a place where you'd want to sit out and have some lemonade and chill out and read a book or smoke a cigar or watch your kids play. It's like it's a mess. So those things aren't hard to do. They're not hard to do. Another thing which got me thinking while you were talking a minute ago is pay attention to your mailbox. I mean, that's like the first thing people see is your mailbox because they're looking for the address. So plant some pretty flowers around the mailbox. Put some nice shrubbery around the mailbox. So it looks inviting also. Like Ira said, it's at the base of the driveway, and it's one of the first things people are going to see.
Yeah, and if the numbers on your mailbox,
Right.
on the post, on the mailbox, are hard to see, or they're not there, and people are looking for your house, and
Right.
GPS says you've arrived, but there's three houses you're looking at. Which one is it? Put new, pert, fresh numbers on the entryway to the house.
Right.
Then they can find you. Otherwise, they don't even know where your darn house is. And if they can't find it or have a hard time, they're going to think, hey, when my grandparents come, they're not going to be able to find the darn house. We don't want to live here. Just as simple as that.
Yeah.
And we're not wrong when we talk about those kind of things, are we, Steph?
No, I mean, I'm telling you, it could turn a person off from buying your house. I mean, it's ridiculous as a realtor when you can't get people to understand. Look, if you're representing them as a seller, look, clean up the outside, do all these things we're talking about. This is not an easy seller's market. Okay. So you want your house to be shown to the best advantage. So spend a little money, spend a little time, spend a little sweat equity, and do this if you want to sell your house and get the most amount of money for it.
Sure. Um, and, there are some things that might be costly. Okay. If you have a driveway that's all cracked and splintered and has got, not a spot that looks like it's clean and clear, and you have to replace the driveway, well, that could be $8, 10, 12, $15,000. Okay. Not much you can do about that. If you want to sell the house, you're going to have to build it in, or you're going to have to sell the house for less because the next people who drive up the bumps in the driveway are going to have to replace the driveway. But most of the rest of the things that we're talking about are not very expensive at all.
No.
In fact, there's a really good checklist that we have that you can ask for, that we can email to you. That is, it's basically in the YouTube description. It's a budget and a checklist of all of the key elements that are part of what you should really be considering. And it has a group of different things, and I'm going to read them to you, and I'm just going to give you an idea of how from high to medium to low people rate these when they show up at your house. Okay, for example, lawn mowing and gardening and weeding. People drive up and the house looks like it hasn't had the lawn cut in 2 weeks and the bushes are ragged. People just say, these guys don't take care of this place. Oh, probably don't take care of the rest of the house either. That's a very inexpensive fix, maybe just a couple of $100 put towards you being able to get top market value for the home. And, instead of the ground being bare around the bushes and around the trees, put down mulch, put down pine straw, perk it up, make it colorful, make it pretty, and cover up the mud so that people walk by and everything just looks pleasing and pleasant. Not very much money at all. Pine straw, what, $5 a bale? Very cheap. New house numbers, as we said, so that people can find the house, and also the numbers are attractive and they glow at night. The first two, setting your lawn and taking care of the mulch and all that kind of stuff, that's a really high value thing to do for not very much money. And frankly, I think being able to find the house and have the house numbers on, it's pretty high value as well. Exterior lighting, particularly when you know that the house is going to be shown afternoons and evenings, and you want the house to look pleasing. And you know that most people, when they buy a home, drive back to that house to see what it looks like at night. Having that house nicely lit, that may cost you $200, $300, $400, $500, worth every single dime. Very high value. Fresh flower beds. Paint your front door. How many times have you walked in and out of that front door and kicked it with your toe when you walked in? So there's bumps and there's streaks and or it's an older door, but if you just gave it a coat of paint or you painted it a contrasting color to the house so it stood out. Look at that house. Look at that great blue door. That's so fun.
Put a nice wreath on your door.
Yes. Hello. Welcome. Just because it's
Mhm.
not Christmas doesn't mean you can't hang a wreath, right?
Correct.
Okay. Pressure washing the house, maybe even replacing the mailbox.
Mhm.
These are all big key items that when you look at them, you can look at what they are, look at these key areas, look at all of the different things that you can do, and just budget it out. And then figure out whether it's something that you can do yourself or that you're going to need to hire somebody to go and do, and what the timing is and what can be done. And cleaning up a house is going to be different in the winter than it's going to be in the summer. It's hard to have flowers in the winter, but the winters are warm enough here so that year round bushes that are well trimmed and look really nice.
Right. Holly bushes, they're year round.
Absolutely. So lots of things that you can do seasonally, whatever it might be, to make your house be as appealing from the outside as you're going to make it appealing from the inside.
And you can go to like Pike's Nursery and you can talk to those guys there. They're really, really helpful. And, even if you brought a picture of your house on your phone and you said, okay, so I want to replace these bushes. I want stuff that's green all year round. I mean, they're going to be great. Nurseries are a big help. If you can't figure out, well, what am I going to put there? Just take a picture and go to a nursery and they'll help you out.
Yeah, for sure. And here's what we call a pro tip. And this is pretty simple. It's pretty obvious, but it's a pretty important tip. It says if you're preparing your home for sale, ask your real estate professional which upgrades are most likely to boost the home's value in your specific community, in your specific market. What are the things that if you do, those are going to support the sale price of the home so that you get top dollar for the home? Versus what are the things that if you don't take care of are going to diminish the value of the home, are going to cause a negotiation? Well, yeah, it's a really nice house and it could look great, but I'm going to have to spend a fortune to clean up the outside, the buyer says. So instead of offering you full price, let's say 410,000, they figure, oh my gosh, you know how this house is? I love the house, but boy, it's going to cost me a fortune, is all they can think of. And what that translates into is they make you an offer for 390,000 on your $410,000 home. And now you have to negotiate and fight for every dollar. As opposed to, boy, this house is lovely on the outside and it's totally cool on the inside. And oh, these people also, it's a certified pre-owned home. Look at this. They already did the inspection. There's not that much wrong with it. This house is really worth every dime they're asking me for. I better put an offer in before somebody else does. And all of these key things in preparing to speak well of your home is really critically important. So when you start thinking about getting your home sold and you're going to engage a really top real estate advisor, an advisor like we have with teams that are there to support them, including gardeners and concrete people and folks that can do your pressure washing, all of those people that are available to assist you if you need them in getting your home prepared and keep your home in shape in order to get the greatest value for your home. That's what you need to be looking for. So I urge you, thinking about selling your home, number one, what is your home physically like on the inside? Have you taken care of it? Is everything working? What is it that you need to do to create your home's vision as a certified pre-owned home so that when people come into the home, they know they're walking into a home that's been really well maintained? Clean up the inside of the house, make it look as pretty as you can so that people feel warm and comfortable when they come in, and do exactly the same thing on the outside of your home so that when people drive up and arrive and pull into that driveway, they feel good about the first moment that they're there, step out on that driveway, and walk into your home. So important to be able to make that good and first impression, painting the roses red so that people, when they see your house, they'll love it, they'll buy it, and you've gotten everything that you've wanted from the sale of your home. So we're going to sign off for today. But before we do, Steph, can you just give us a quick summary of all of the totally cool things that are going on this week and for the end of this month, including my favorite, which is actually the ice cream
I
event?
knew it.
Well, that's actually number 2 because I
Oh.
really love the puppet shows.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the ice cream.
Ice cream is number
Well,
2.
what you could do is
One.
you can go to the puppet show and then you can go to the ice cream festival.
That's right. It's my reward.
Yeah. So, okay. So the last puppet show of the summer, check it out. Adventures in Space, Roswell Cultural Arts Center. They're great. Go take your kids, your grandkids, whatever. Go have a good time. And then, as Ira said, the Atlanta Ice Cream Festival in Piedmont Park, July the 26th. That's going on. The Midsummer Kids Festival with inflatables, games, all that stuff in Peachtree Corners. That's going on this weekend. If you want to cool off before the kids go to back to school, and it's just a fun thing to do with your kids. If you've had a really busy summer and you're working and trying to juggle kids, it's a nice thing to do before they go back to school. It's not that pricey. Six Flags is only $25 to get in, so it's not bad. You could get there early in the morning and spend the entire day. So there's Six Flags. Six Flags Whitewater. It's Whitewater in Cobb Parkway on 41 in Marietta. And then the other one is go over to Lake Lanier and go to Margaritaville and the water park there. Go in there, have a grand old time at Lake Lanier. Again, if you didn't want to spend that much money, take them to some splash pads. Like I said, they're like $6 and under, and they can stay there for hours and splash around and have a good time. I told you about one in Kennesaw. I told you about one in Powder Springs. That one's Seven Springs Water Park. Then there's the one in the city, the Battery Splash Pad, and the other one is East Roswell Spray Ground. And again, those are usually $6 and under for the kids to go. And, they're open from 10 o'clock in the morning to 5, 6 o'clock at night. So those are inexpensive ways for the kids to have fun in the summer, and you can just chill out and watch them. And last but not least was this last state park I told you about, Vogel State Park. In the Chattahoochee National Forest that you should check out. And while you're up there, it's in Blairsville, Georgia, which is probably an hour and a half from Atlanta. It's not a bad ride to get up to the state park, about an hour and a half. And when you're up there, definitely try to get into either Blairsville, Helen, or Blue Ridge and do some tubing if you've got little kids, fishing, or whitewater rafting. The whitewater rafting is so much fun. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. And if you have kids that are, I would say, probably from 10 and older, yeah, probably something like that, they'd have a blast and love it. So that's what I had for you this week, guys.
Okay. So thank you for joining us again this week for ATL Home Market. We appreciate you coming and visiting with us. If you've liked what you've heard today, like us on YouTube and let us know. And if this is the first time that you visited, subscribe to ATL Home Market on our YouTube channel. There's lots and lots and lots of wonderful videos for information and stories about what's going on in Metro Atlanta, and to really help you to think through and to make good decisions about what has to occur and what you can take care of when you're buying and selling a home in this wonderful community that we all live in called Metro Atlanta. You can also, if you want any more information about anything that we've talked about, or if you'd like to just talk about how to get prepared to either buy or sell a home, call us or text us at the number that you see here in our YouTube program. And we thank you again. And we invite you to come back and join us again this week, next week. This week is done. Next week for ATL Home and Market. Have a great
Thanks.
week.
And if you'd like, drop me a line. If you've done any of the things I've told you about, let me know. I'd sure love to hear about it. Have a great week, everybody.